Hi, it's me again. Well, today I'm going to follow with part two of how to be creative or how to squeeze more creative juices out of this thing. Okay, so a couple of days ago we talked about two methods, minimizing, maximizing, and of course changing the environment. So today I'm going to talk about one more technique. Okay, now creative thinking is of course very important. I think we all want to be creative thinkers, and we want to come with new ideas. And being creative to me is being positive. And of course, if you're positive, that means you can you have a better attitude with people, with yourself, and a lot of things good will happen, isn't it? So being positive. So how to be positive for me is like in a way that you believe that problems can be solved, right? So if problems can be solved, so you want to be able to solve problems. So to be able to solve problems, you want to be creative to solve problems. So to be positive is to be creative, and to be creative is to have different techniques to be creative. Okay, so a couple of days ago we have two. Today I'm going to give another technique on how to be creative. Hi PB, hi Rudy, and hi Jeremy. So this technique is it's very powerful, and it's fun. You can do it with the family, you can do it with your team, you can do it with anybody, you can do it with yourself, and human beings are really powerful in connecting things, like connecting things, right? Connecting things. And they are also very good in associating. That means, if I, say something to you, you will probably have cause you to think of another idea, isn't it, right? Cause you to think of another idea. So that's called association. That's all association. And one of the ways to trigger this association is like, I'm gonna give you an example. Okay, so if I were to say to you something like a word like Rome, like the country or city Rome, right? And so if I say city Rome to you, what would immediately come to mind? You would see maybe the Colosseum, maybe you think about the Vatican, maybe you think about pizza, maybe you think about Italian movie, right? So the word Rome made you think of many things that associate with Rome. So for example, if I were to say Kuala Lumpur, right? So you would think about maybe the Twin Towers, maybe the palace, maybe politicians, who know, all right? So this is association. So we are very good at connecting things. So let's say, we need some fresh new ideas. But a lot of times, the ideas that we come out with sometimes are things that we already know, right? We already know, but we want something totally different. Hi Meixian, hi Jason. So if we want something totally different, we probably have to start from some place we didn't think about. Okay, so for example, all right, there's an example I always use. Let's say you want to think about you want to give some presents or gifts to old folks' homes, okay? Seniors. So you want to give them some presents, right? And so you're gonna think about ideas, right? Your typical ideas are, maybe food or rice, or those are typical ideas. Maybe you want something different, okay? So let's say we use this random word method, all right, to come up with a different idea. So for example, let's say the word is London, the city London. So if I say to you the city London, what comes to mind? Maybe you want to type it. Let's say if I said the word London, what comes to mind? What comes to mind when I say the word London? Hi Jikoi. What comes to mind when I say London? Does it Does it give you some ideas of the place London? Does it remind you of certain things? Right. So maybe London may remind you of lights, right? Because they're very beautiful lights. London Bridge. London is far away. It's far away. London is very cold. London is, you have the Buckingham Palace. You have the Queen. You have Big Ben, right? So London has fish and chips, right? And London has what else? London? What else? When I say London, comes to mind? Okay, so whatever that comes to mind. Let's say, for example, cold, and maybe, and then we think about gifts that we can give to elderly, isn't it? So maybe when we think about cold, we start to think about maybe blankets, maybe an air conditioning for the whole room, right? Maybe a new fan. Not your typical ideas, but then the word London gives you the idea of cold, then gives you the idea of, what can I create the environment of coolness, maybe an aircon or a fan. Okay, so those one ideas. Maybe another one is London is lights, city of lights. Okay, so maybe we'll think about, the elderly, maybe at night they want to get up. Maybe we have torch lights, or maybe a type of light where when they walk, it will automatically light up. All right, so that's another idea that we don't typically think about. All right, so this technique is called random word. All right, so it's very easy to do. Let's say you have some ideas that you need, okay, and you want to get some ideas that you don't normally think about. So you need to put yourself in a different situation. So you can get a magazine, you can get a dictionary or any book, and then you flip the book, randomly, and choose one word, and then that word will cause you to think about other things. All right. So, and then from those things, you start to think about how those things relate to the ideas that you need. How does it relate to those ideas? Then that means that the origin of the ideas came from that word, right? So that means it didn't just come from, the things that you already know. It's from a different source. Okay, so it's very powerful, very simple to use. In fact, if you go online and you search the word random word generator, there is already a random word generator, and every time you click on it, a new word will come up, and that new word can be a word that you can use to start to, expand out. So you expand out: London, lights, far away, cold, fish and chips, Big Ben, Queen. All right, so it expands out, and then from those words, it expands further, maybe, and expands to something that for example, for the elderly, something that you can buy within your budget, available here in Malaysia, available where you can get it, so you can fine tune and cancel out things that doesn't apply, and then use those ideas that does apply. So from the word London, it expands out, and then we can associate it to what we want. All right, so that will give you fresh new ideas, a creative approach, and again, these are just techniques, okay? And I believe that everyone is creative, and sometimes all we need is that trigger. We need to be activated. We just need some form of guidance as to how to, remove ourselves and maybe think from a different point of view. All right, so this random word really forces us to think from a different point of view, so that we can come up with different ideas, all right, which may or may not apply to what we do, but at least it will give us a different approach of where the idea comes from. Okay, and guess what? If you do it as a team, everyone gives you a different idea, would then cause you to think about, fish and chips, vinegar, vinegar, sour. So you can see how those connections come about, and maybe the word fish and chips or something, or Big Ben would create a another idea. Big Bang is a clock, maybe a clock. So because somebody said it, then you are associating with that Big Bang as the clock, and maybe the clock with another idea. Okay, so when you do it as a team, everyone who gives a word or an association is a beginning of another association, of another point of view that you may not have come by if you were to do it by yourself. Okay, so this is another way to activate as a team, to kind of have some creative juices from your brain and from different points of view, so that you can come up with different ideas. Okay, I hope that wasn't too complicated, and I hope that kind of makes sense. If it does, let me know, and if it helps you, and it helps some of your friends who need some fresh new ideas, maybe you can share this with them. And this idea was I think developed by Edward de Bono. He's a author and a creative thinker, and so I went to one of his trainings before, and these are just one of the techniques that he uses to how do you say, create or activate or trigger creative thought. All right, I hope that helps. Share it with your friends, tag your friends, and if you have any questions, please ask me, and I'd love to share with you more. So I hope this video works. Say hi. And have a fantastic weekend. Stay safe. All right, the numbers are going down, but let's follow the SOPs, and it soon shall pass. So have a fantastic weekend, because you are wonderful. You're amazing. So now I have a problem of trying to shut this down. Somehow it's stuck.